Oh, I am resuming. So the meeting is being recorded, and I'm going to share the agenda, call the meeting to order. And what we need, the first order of business is to approve the agenda. So what's on the agenda is public comments, then a funding request for our own outreach committee, a funding request from Western Heights, a funding request for some pens for the homelessness liaison committee, committee updates, if any, website status update, if any to say, a quick discussion on attendance and board member trainings, discussing the upcoming governing board meeting, treasurer's report, secretary's report, any old business. So, and adjourn. So the question is this agenda approvable? And if yes,
if yes, only
the way executive committee works, unlike our other committees, only the the officers, of whom there's 3 tonight, may make motions and vote.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Okay, it's been moved.
I'll second.
And seconded. Okay, all in favor, Laura's aye.
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 And aye. Okay, so so we have next item is public comment or announcements. This is on things not on the agenda. I'm going to stop the share and remind myself and everybody else. I think at this point, none of us are very new to Zoom, but just in case, if you're looking at this on the computer, you see the pretty pictures of all of us, and that it's on a black screen. If you move your cursor to the bottom of the screen, you'll see the participants. If you click on that, it'll bring up the list of people who are participating in the meeting, but it also gives you the ability to raise your hand. There's a icon called raise hand. Gabby, Greg, and myself cannot raise our hands, but everybody else can. So if you have any public comment on items not on the agenda, please raise your hand if anybody wants to make any public comments. Seeing none and hearing none, we move on. And the next item on the agenda is Lizzie, is basically you, and then with me and Gabby, we comprise the election outreach committee, right? But the election committee is requesting specific funds for outreach activities, and maybe more importantly, also we have $1,000 that we budgeted last June for this year's elections for the outreach, but the committee is now requesting up to $1,500. So, Lizzie.
Yes. First of all, good evening, everyone. Is there an option to later on request more money if needed?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. So for this phase of the election cycle, I asked 3 printing houses for quotes, and we estimated that we would need probably, instead of flyers, posters and ask businesses to display them on their window fronts, and maybe other organizations, churches, any community organizations within the UNNC footprint. Instead of flyers, we were thinking also maybe postcards, because if interested parties look at the flyer and become interested, I think it's better for them to go ahead and take a postcard and go with it with information. The postcard would be just minimum graphics, minimum information, but with links. And I was hoping to make it bilingual, double-sided. Also, lawn signs, which uh, 4 years ago, I believe we ordered, not in 2019, but the cycle before, and we installed them on along the Washington median, and I believe that was effective. So what I asked the different printing companies was for 3 sets of postcards, flyers. I'm sorry, postcards, posters, and lawn signs with both metal frames and without, because maybe for the first phase we would have the metal frames and then just replace the sign themselves. So I reached out to Phantom Printing. They are in Santa Monica. They do free delivery. They were the ones who printed our flyers and posters in 2019. Their quote is quite expensive, so I have not added it up, but just for comparison, I also reached out to Printed Digital, which is a company on Washington Boulevard, but in the mid-city area. And theirs is, I think it's pretty reasonable. They were very eager to work with me, very prompt. Print Depot, I also talked to Steven, but he has not delivered the quote. So that's still, in the waiting. And
Right.
I think we would like to be supportive, I believe, of a local company. So Printed
Well,
Digital.
let me interrupt you for 1 second. I know he hasn't
Okay.
delivered anything. However, I'm looking at a different postcard bid from them and or invoice actually. So they had printed 400 two-sided postcards, and these were the size of the postcards were 8.5 by 5.5.
Yes.
So in other words, half a sheet of paper,
Mhm.
400 for $170. So that's a lot less than both these companies.
Okay. 400, but they would be. See,
Double
the thing
sided.
here, yes,
Yeah.
but the thing here is that basically we are asking for 3 jobs
Yeah, no, no, no,
because.
no, no. I'm just saying by way of example, I've
Mhm.
never asked
Yes,
them for anything else. I'm just
yes,
saying
okay, sure.
randomly, my experience of them has been that they have reasonable prices because they are a business to business printer for other printing businesses.
Yes.
So
I'm
we
just kind
hopefully
of. Mhm.
hopefully their prices will come in less. That's all I'm
Yes.
saying.
I'm just kind of disappointed that I told them we would have the meeting tonight if they could
Yeah.
send us the quote, and
Yeah.
I sent a follow-up message and nothing happened.
Well,
But
we're
anyway,
not approving
so
vendors tonight, Lizzie. We're
right.
approving
So
money.
for Printed Digital, they have quoted me, if you see there,
Yeah.
for postcards, as you were saying, for
Mhm.
100 or 200, he's offering the same price, and he clarified
Right.
that for me because I thought maybe it was going to be double, and he said that it's it's sort of a deal that
Right.
he's working out for us. Also, he will take off the $10 delivery pickup charge, and he offered, because I asked him what is going to be the quality of the paper, because it doesn't really matter because it's a temporary, it's gonna be on a window for maybe up to 2 months every time, so it doesn't really matter. But he has offered. I sent him a sample of a previous flyer, and he's sending me a sample tomorrow. So I so we feel comfortable with the quality and what it's gonna look like.
Mhm.
So basically, after taxes, the quote from printed digital is about the our target of $1,500, probably a
Mhm.
little bit more. And this is without the Facebook boost ads, which I am still waiting from Adriana to tell me officially what the status is on that. But we will do it as we discussed in our elections committee meeting. We will try to just do it by forwarding and us asking different organizations. Maybe Paul can help us with Kidney Heights,
Mhm.
and Greg with Western Heights and their email lists, Stephen Peckman. So we can do this. I think we can spread the word around, and we should be ready to do that pretty soon.
Okay, hang on. Greg, you have a question?
I do. Lizzie, about the things, the three items we're asking to print, I understand the signs for the businesses.
Yes.
Could you talk about the postcards? Is that something that we will also need to distribute to people um, to see if they're interested in running, or is it something that we're mailing to the community?
I think mailing becomes really expensive. And this year, so I
So,
just don't
so
know. My idea was just we thought maybe doing a small run and giving it to the businesses
Right.
so they could have it on the counter, a handful of them.
okay,
I think that would be effective. We have
okay,
several new businesses here on Jefferson, a new coffee shop. So I think that might work. We
okay,
could work
understood,
with yes,
understood.
Alibi
And
Cafe, etc.
okay, and the lawn signs, you said that in the past they were placed on Washington Boulevard, so we'll put them on the main
Along the
thoroughfare.
median where
Yes,
there's
yes.
grass.
And then we
So
could just put them in different yards around the community also.
exactly. And
Okay,
and
gotcha.
that would be something that I think we could do ourselves. DIY. It would be a
Excuse me.
DIY project. Uh,
Okay,
just to save
gotcha.
us some money. So just get
And
the information out.
and you want 1,500 for now?
Uh, I'm thinking,
Well, so we put on the agenda 1,500 as a max. So
mhm,
I'm seeing that the numbers might be exceeding that, but again, we
mhm.
can phase this. Meaning by phase it, I mean, we can do one of two things. Approve, approve to recommend to the governing board up to
Mhm.
$1,500, and then you will need to have decided which vendor and a little more specific so there's a real invoice to approve at governing board. And
Yes.
then, Greg, how would it be okay as if really hit the 1,500 with all the printing for us to just create for governing board a separate item of 250 for Facebook, or will we have to come back?
Yeah, but that can just come up under just regular outreach. I
Right.
mean,
What I'm saying
we
is, can we just have that item? We don't know yet from Dunn
Right.
what's happening with Facebook boosts for
yes,
the election
right,
because
right.
of the Facebook ban on
Understand,
politics.
understand.
But as
Yes,
long as it could be a separate item on the governing board agenda that we didn't deal with here, that's what I'm trying to get
right.
at.
Yeah, it would be preferable if all election items were under the election umbrella, so we know what we totally spent. But yeah, we could use the outreach funds.
Okay,
Good.
Yeah,
okay.
and
Right.
then yeah, that's not a problem. So can we make a
So
motion to approve your money?
Yeah, right. So, sorry, I'm
yes,
also
please.
watching in the waiting room. So, I would make a motion to approve up, hang on, I'm gonna look at what we have on this, approve
1,500.
up to $1,500 for, out, election outreach expenditures specifically related to printing of outreach materials, and to adjust the budget from 1,000 to 1,500.
I second it. Let's vote.
Yeah,
See,
it was.
losing money.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments? I know, I'd like to go home.
Give Lizzie the money.
But does anybody have any further questions or comments?
I'm sorry.
It's been moved
Excuse-
and seconded. Hearing none and seeing no hands, then I will call for the vote. And again, it's only Greg, Gabby, and myself. So I, Laura Myers, vote yes.
Gabby, aye.
Gabby
yes.
votes yes. Greg votes
Aye.
yes. Okay,
Sweetness.
Thank you.
thank you. And this is a
Um,
recommendation to the governing board. Greg,
Do we, Lizzie, do we have your documents for this?
I do.
Yes, Laura has them.
Ooh, okay.
I do. Well, I have 2 out of 3, but in the end, Lizzie will make a choice. You know, in other words, we'll only take one to governing board.
Okay.
We just don't know which one yet.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
And,
you.
and again, we're in theory, well, we're not holding our breath. In theory, Lizzie and I are supposed to have a one-on-one meeting with
Mhm.
Dunn's election outreach folks, but we've been getting emails saying they're gonna do it for about 6 weeks now, but they haven't actually scheduled it.
Right, and I asked Adriana, our advocate, our NEA, and she has not responded yet.
Okay.
So
I have an additional request.
yes,
If we have time in the governing board meeting, if you could give us a quick tutorial on the election, like major dates. And
yes,
yes,
yes, of course.
I would appreciate that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Sweetness.
All right, thank you.
We are so efficient. Good for us. Come back for more money, Lizzie, if you want it.
Yes, thank you, Greg.
Right. Well, and again, we're really trying to figure out the Facebook thing. So,
Yes.
and we will. I mean, it just may have to be, get involved, have your voice heard, go to the website, and not say the word election or the word candidate or the word ballot in any of the posts. It may be that simple that we have to do a workaround somehow. All right. Next item on the agenda is a funding request from Western Heights Neighborhood Association, which requests community improvement project funding for, lack of a better description, doggy waste stations, requesting up to $1,100. And Greg, we have a presenter. Do we have?
We have a presenter.
Yes, do we have materials, and does our presenter need to be made a co-host? Is there a share screen going on?
I can share the screen.
Okay, cool. I'm
If-
sitting back and watching it like.
Herman,
a
you want me to
TV
share
show.
the screen?
Yeah, I don't have all this material hooked up like you do.
Okay. Okay, can everyone see this?
Yep.
Okay,
Can you go to the next page?
sure.
Okay, great. First of all, let me say thank you for this opportunity. I was recently elected president of Western Heights. For those of you that don't know, Western Heights is a 6-block area between Arlington and Western, and between Washington and the Santa Monica Freeway. If you walk through Western Heights, you will notice that we have a gate at the end of 20th Street, just before you get to Western. And we have 20th Street and 21st Street blocked off. You can't enter from Arlington, but you can go out. The reason I mentioned that, those barriers create a safe and secure walking spot for individuals who live in Western Heights and individuals who do not live in Western Heights. With COVID-19, people are in their homes and they are doing exercises and they're walking their dogs. One of the things that we found is that as they walk their dogs poop or shit, for lack of a better word. And what happens sometimes is people don't pick up the dog poop. So we are blessed with a nice long blocks where people can walk their dogs and feel comfortable. But we also have the issue of people not being responsible. So on August the 16th, the former president, Carroll, submitted a proposal requesting $1,098.48. And we were looking to have 6, what I'm gonna call doggy waste stations. We'll place one on each one of the 6 blocks. They're about $142 a piece, which comes to roughly $850. And then we want to buy some cement, which will be about $150. And we have volunteer labor for members of the community to dig the holes, put the cement in, and put up these dog structures where people can begin to find ways to collect their dog poop. We as a community, I think, is said we will try to keep bags there. We will have money. If you want to give us more money to be able to have us buy supplies of bags, we would be really appreciative. I heard Greg ask Sonny if she wanted more money to come back. So I'm asking Greg and the rest of you, if you have additional money, we will be more than glad to take it to buy the bags to refurbish the things. With all jokes aside, I think the virus has brought out some significance of people exercising, people walking their dogs, and people sometimes not taking the necessary responsibility. So what we're trying to do as a community is create an atmosphere and environment where we will help people create that atmosphere of having these waste stations to where they can collect their dog poop and have the plastic bags to do that. And that's essence of what we have, what we're asking for. And if you have questions, I'm more than willing to try to answer your questions.
Okay. Gabby, do you have any questions before I go?
I'm sure I missed this. Where is the location of the waste stations?
One will be on each block, and we will designate that, like on the block between Manhattan Place and Gramercy on 20th and 21st. I think the tentative spot is to put one close to Gramercy and 20th, and then put one on the opposite, close to Manhattan and 21st. Then put one on 20th at Cimarron, and put one at Arlington and 20th, and then the same thing on 21st Street.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's it for me.
So my question is, the big brick building that's at Arlington and 20th, you know, what is it, 5, 6 stories? The person who bought that building some years ago decided that he's a dog lover, so he's made it a dog friendly building. So there's lots of people with lots of dogs. So we know who's walking the dogs, along with the, you know, single family home residents and the couple of apartment building residents in the neighborhood. How do we use this, if we can, to help get them knowledgeable about UNNC and Western Heights, for that matter? Meaning, are you also going to put out one round of flyers or postcards in all of these places to let people know that this is happening? And can that round, which is not part of this funding request, but you know, we're seeking more engagement with more people. And I don't know, when we fund these projects, I don't know how we're letting people know. Or, I mean, it's not something you came prepared to answer, but that's a thought.
Oh, but I can answer it. I can answer it.
Sure.
One of the things that we are trying to do is reinstitute our newsletter that comes out once every other month. Within that newsletter, you've just given me an opening. If we're trying to get people from CD10, the new city council, We're trying to get someone from Ms. Holly Mitchell's office. We're trying to get our local, I think his name is Mr. Gomez, Jimmy Gomez. So your organization, if you're willing, can write an article each time we put out the newsletter, telling people what you are about, what you want. If we get this funding, as I will have the responsibility of writing a column for the newsletter, I would clearly indicate it that we got $1,100 from your organization to help us do that. The other thing that we're doing, hopefully with our newsletter, it will be electronic, but we also have block captains who will walk to each house within our neighborhood and put a newsletter on the people's porch. So the one thing that we probably could do, if we got the name of the owner, if you know that person, we could reach out to him and put in an amount of newsletters with your article, with my article, talking about this project and letting them know that this is something that's available to them, plus give you the publicity that you're seeking for. And if you guys are willing to write an article every time we put out the newsletter, you can say whatever you want, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody's feelings.
Right. And it's not just the credit for the dog poop stations. It's
Is it-
really the get involved with UNNC. We have all these committees, you know, I mean,
You can write
vote,
whatever you want.
whatever.
Liz, your
Lizzie,
hand is up.
Lizzie.
Yes. Hi, Herman.
Yes.
I understand that Western Heights has a neighborhood association, correct? You mentioned that volunteers will be working on actually installing
Yes.
these stations. Is the neighborhood association, do you guys have any kind of income revenue from the neighborhood itself? Because I don't know if you know, the UNNC footprint is quite large, and I was just thinking about, I saw a green, when I was driving by, I saw something that looked like a dog station on Jefferson Park, but it was just one very lonely station. I was going to ask who sponsored it, who installed it, etc. But I was just wondering, is the neighborhood association, uh, I would suppose that there's some money from the filming.
Well, we have a limited amount of money. One of our biggest expenses is paying the insurance and the taxes for the gate.
All right.
And so that's a big expense for us. We do periodically get funding from films, but that is not guaranteed. We can only ask, and sometimes people will give us resources and sometimes they won't. If people are having a film and they've done everything they needed to do, we have a committee that will ask them. But sometimes people come in and film and don't have the appropriate permits, and they just don't decide to do that. We think that this project will be a beautification for the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
We think that it will accent what we have to offer. As I said, by having those gates, it creates where cars can't drive. I don't know whether you remember what it was like before the gates were implemented, but people would drive up and down 20th Street and we couldn't get out our driveways.
Mm-hmm.
But once we put the gates, it creates a place where people can walk, they can skate, kids can ride their scooters, people can ride their bicycles. But one of the things that we found is that people walk their dogs and their dogs poop, and they don't always pick it up. And that's what we're trying to take away from.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other questions or comments? So,
Not me.
so I do think it's certainly a viable project, and I don't really mean to link, can you help us get our word out with the approval of this project, Herman, because we were going to ask you to help us. We were going to ask you to help get the word out before I knew there was a funding.
Yeah. Whether you approve this
Right.
project or not, we will still extend an
Yeah.
invitation for you to write an article. And at
Right,
some
thank
point, you want to come to one of our meetings and tell the members of this community what you guys are about. We could easily set that up also, give
Sure.
you time for that.
You know, I mean, and obviously, before COVID, I actually probably attended your meetings at least once a year and talked about land use issues, me personally. But So, no, obviously, we all collaborate together, and that is why we're called the United Neighborhoods. But I do think this is a great project. I love to have our various neighborhoods have small focus projects like this. So I support it. And I'm, Greg, I don't know how far you can go in
What do
pushing
you mean?
or not. I mean,
What do you mean?
are you going to make the motion? You,
I
Greg?
can, sure. I make a motion that we approve the $1,100 for Western Heights Neighborhood Association Community Improvement Project for doggy waste stations.
Okay, and I second. I didn't see on the funding request, is there an actual invoice for receipt, not receipt, but a invoice for this?
No, we just have quotes.
Right, but I mean, something, I'm sorry, and I don't want you to put it back up on the screen, but something for governing board where we can see the whole, see an act.
Yeah, that document.
There
Funding
was a proposal submitted to you on August 16th, 2020.
Yeah.
Wow. Do I know this? Was it submitted to me or to Greg? Sorry if it was me.
I don't know who it was. Carol submitted it. Let me see.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Let's not call out anybody.
So
It will be resubmitted. The request will be resubmitted because we
thank
need
you.
to change some administrative things. So yes, we have a package.
It's fine.
Yes.
And, okay, so I'm going to call the question. Greg,
Yes,
Gabby,
Yes.
and Laura is a yes. Okay.
the one thing I will add, if you want to make this project like a pilot project, you could, in your article, you could suggest that all the other neighborhoods in this United Neighborhood may want to also consider putting doggy waste stations in their neighborhood. And that could be a project that that the United Neighborhood could do collectively.
Right. I think here in the avenues where I'm sitting right now, they actually have these as well. And for all I know, these are what we also paid for them. But I don't remember, but I think maybe.
Yep.
So.
All right, so what's the process now? You guys approved this, so what happens now?
We approved it as a recommendation to governing board on February 4th. So the governing board itself has to also approve it.
Do I need to come back to talk to the governing board?
That's a Greg
Yes.
question.
yes.
So if someone lets me know, I will
I will
zoom
let
in
you
again.
know.
Okay,
I'll
all
let you
right.
know.
I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Herman. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next item on our agenda is I see Tori's not here. It's a funding request. It's sort of an odd situation, but we got an invoice for pens for the Homeless Liaison Committee, and I'm going to share the screen.
I don't think there's any need to share it, Laura.
You don't?
No.
Okay, so I should stop the share?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. Then I take it you're taking the lead on this, Greg.
I can. I
Please
will.
do.
Okay, so, well, we can't really take any action on it because Tori doesn't know if she's received the items. She knows she has an invoice, but that's all she recalls. So unless she's here to present and talk about it, then we can't really there's no need to discuss it because we don't know the status of it.
Mhm.
So it's a waste of well, not a waste of our time, but we don't
Okay.
have enough information to make a valid
So you're basically
decision.
saying we've done our duty by putting it on the agenda, but
Yeah, we can't
There's
take any
nobody
action on
here.
it because we don't know what's the status of it is.
Okay.
You know,
so are we tabling it?
yes,
Looks
we can
like-
say we're tabling.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay. So next item on the agenda is committee updates. That's if we have any. Committee chairs, co-chairs are requested mean, this is a monthly standing item to provide updates to the executive committee. That's the monthly regarding the status of draft mission statements and
Okay.
or current projects. So I don't see committee chair except for
I'm ready.
Ray,
I can
you're
present
in,
one.
you're in. Okay. We do have committee chairs here. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm not really the committee chair,
I know.
but I go to the recreation, Parks and Recreation meeting, which is a great group. And I can say that in the governing board, they will present their mission and vision statements.
Okay.
I'm not, my apologies for not having it ready to present
Okay.
here, but I know that will be ready to present.
Okay. And Gabby, do you and Raheem finished the communications already as well?
Yeah,
right?
ours are ready to be presented to the governing board as well.
Okay. And Lizzie, I think you finished as well, right? For outreach? Ish?
Yes, I think it might need one more meeting and that's it.
Okay. And I have to admit that planning and zoning, because we like ours, we didn't really haven't agendized it, but we could do so if we need to on February 3rd. I mean, we have an existing one, but everything could use a final touch. The environmental committee did do theirs as well.
Sweet.
So I'm sort of losing track. I don't think Jefferson Park did theirs. I know CIS committee has not done theirs. So the real question is, should we start running through this on the February 4th governing board meeting and just
Sure.
at least you do the committees that are done?
Sure.
Okay.
Give everybody 2 minutes.
Well, we have to vote is the issue. So what I really am going to want is that everybody who has such a document, even if you're finalizing it by editing it personally and not going back to the committee, if you're going to be on the agenda, get that all cleaned up and get it to us no later than the 31st of January so we can post these in advance in the agenda packet. So Lizzie, if you feel you're not ready, then yours won't be on the agenda. I'm not going to specify which ones are and are not. I'm just going to say committee mission statements. But if you feel you can just edit and get it done, then do it. But by the 31st, so they can be cleaned up and in Microsoft Word, so that if they need any further cleaning, as it were, we can do a little back and forth just on format, not content, and get it cleaned up for posting in a public agenda.
But it should have been approved within the committee first, right?
Well, I'm trying to I think your committee did approve it.
No, we did not. I don't
Then
think
you're
we
not,
did.
then yours
Because I
won't be
was-
done.
Right.
Right.
That's why I think we need one more
Sure.
meeting to
No, I'm just
approve it and then
saying
submit it.
any committee chair who feels they are ready, please submit to me in Microsoft Word by the 31st of January. So if there's any formatting before they get PDF'd and put into the packet. Probably not. I'm just saying, just in case. I don't want to be scrambling on Tuesday night, the 2nd, to do this.
Madam President, could we send out a courtesy
Absolutely.
reminder to everyone of what you just said?
Sure.
So that
Courtesy reminder or cover my you-know-what reminder so that I'm not trying to clean anything up or create PDFs or have to upload them on Tuesday night, the 2nd, or worse, Wednesday, the 3rd. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm fully cognizant that at least 2 committees haven't even met yet. Just saying. Okay. UNNC website update status. And Gabby, I think this is a Greg request and only a Gabby response, if there is anything to say.
Sure.
Gabby, can I present my request to
Please.
you?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so I know that we're talking about the website and we're working on it. Um, and I just want that committee to have, not that it's my money, but any funding that they need to support that, because I know we look at the website. Like, for example, I looked at the website the other day for the agenda for this meeting, and I went to the calendar and the agenda wasn't there. Then I had to refresh it. So I just want us to just move forward with making the website what we want it to be. And I just want to know, how can we support you
Hi,
guys
Taylor.
with that effort?
Yeah, so we've given Anne and Doug till June to work up a new plan for a website. And like, we do have a
June?
new committee member that has joined who is helping out with that process. And we should be getting an update, not at this meeting, but I think the next one.
You said
Is
You said June?
yeah, we give them till June. So, we're not looking to revamp everything. I wasn't aware that agenda stuff wasn't, like all the links
Oh,
and
well,
stuff weren't
no,
working.
Gabby, let me
So
just jump in. It's the interface between the website and some people's browsers. So where it wasn't there for Greg until he had to refresh and refresh and refresh, but he
Yeah,
had emailed me and I found it right away. So, so I think.
so it might be a browser
but-
thing,
but-
which is
but-
why we're looking at
Yeah.
getting a different host or just, revamping the website altogether. So we're not really, we're looking at proposals right now that they should bring to us within the next couple of meetings to figure out like what we want to do. But in the meantime, like agendas should be working fine. And if they're not, then I'll let Anne know to like test it before, we publish anything. But so really, our main focus right now is just trying to figure out how we're going to organize the website. Because it seems like it's a little bit all over the place. We have a ton of users that have access to our website that are no longer on the board as well. So we're cleaning that up. We need updated bylaws. So I don't know who to request that from. If it's
I have the
Laura?
updated bylaws, yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll need that. That I can take care of this week, actually. And then, let's see, I have a couple of other
Well,
things.
we need updated board members. Also, while we're all on the screen, Gabby, I want to introduce you to, and Greg too, to Taylor, can you see him? Hi, Taylor.
Yes. Hi, Taylor.
Taylor.
He's also a web and TikTok kind of guy, and you're going to join our communications committee, right, Taylor?
Yeah, well, so I totally could. Yeah. Well, so
Yeah.
I just, this is why I joined this meeting tonight. So I had emailed Laura a little
Yeah.
while ago, just offering help with web development. So I work at TikTok. I work on web development and web apps. I'm a product manager. I worked at YouTube for a few years, same thing, building websites. So YouTube's you guys probably know, the third most popular website in the world. TikTok's the most popular web app of 2020. So I have a lot of experience building websites. So when I went to the UNNC website, I saw that there's a lot of potential for improvement. It's actually, compared to a lot of the other neighborhood council websites, quite good. So it's much better, for example, than the West Adams Neighborhood Council website. So there's that, but I think there are a lot of like very, very small tweaks that could make it a lot more usable. And I do this as a job, making websites more usable. So in any way I could help, I'm here.
Gabby, recruit him. Get his number.
Definitely.
He needs you.
Yeah, that sounds great, Taylor. We have a communications committee meeting this Thursday at 8 o'clock. So please feel free to join us. And I'll get your email. Laura, you already have his email, or?
Taylor, do I have your email or just, I must, right?
You should, yeah.
Because we
Taylor.fife.
talked. Okay.
Yeah, taylor.fife@gmail.com.
Oh, okay, very easy.
Or you can hit me up at my work email, taylor.fife@tiktok.com.
Yeah, we should use personal though.
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't
personal works for
wanna-
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to take over your work email.
I will say so like the communications committee, I don't think you actually can find an agenda for communications committees, because the agendas are organized by committee, and some of the committees don't exist on the website. So the communications
Right.
committee-
So that's like
Mhm.
another thing that we need to figure out. And we were supposed to follow up, Laura, on what committees are active.
Yeah,
And we
but you know what? I'm being interruptive, but I'm on the homepage of our website, and right there under board and committee meetings is communications, meeting to be held
Yeah, but
virtually.
see, people don't know to hover over that, or to click on it, so it gets
Yeah.
a little confusing.
I agree. I
So
agree.
we want to make sure that we have, this is another thing that we were trying to decide, Greg, and I maybe we can get your opinion on it, but we don't know how to list all of the committees. So some of the committees are listed, I guess some of them are in the bylaws and they're listed on the website, but there are some that we just sort of made up and they're not listed on there. So we want to figure out which ones are, need to be listed on the website, and then go from there and get bylaws and missions and goals on there.
And then we have the circle, because it's not that they're in the bylaws, they're in the standing rules. And what I want to do is change the standing rules so there's more flexibility, because we do have committees that are important in the year 2021. And I can think of a few others that we don't have that would be good to have. And then we have committees that were in the standing rules that no one has wanted to chair, much less have meetings, in more than a decade. So, but if we had eliminated all of them based on that, we wouldn't have a Recreation and Parks Committee now. So I'm feeling like our standing rules just need to change such that we adopt our committees on an annual basis or something like that, without naming which ones must be there, or just some minimum ones like executive and planning and zoning. But yeah, I mean, and the other thing, just even related to committees, what the way our website works right now, the way it was set up, Doug explains this to me all the time. Whenever a committee changes its meeting date, which happens, it's really hard to insert that meeting into the standing stuff. And I don't know why, because I'm not a web person.
But the web people can figure that out.
But that's what you guys, and that's what you guys do need to figure out. So there's more flexibility on the website as well.
Yeah, they can handle that.
But Greg, that's really a meet for our communications committee meeting rather than this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Greg, did you have anything else that we can address? I'll get bylaws up today from Laura.
No, I will come and I will talk with Laura between now and then on the different committees. So I will come to the meeting with the committee list, and then I will come as a customer, as a user, because so in full transparency, Gabby, when you say June, that makes my heart sink, because I'm like, I need this now. I just think of all the people we're losing.
Well, there's some things we can do now. I mean, what I need now,
I didn't mean everything will be done in June.
No, but I want an accurate
progress until June.
I want all the board members now, for example.
So I'm going, please let me repeat this again. When you said June, my heart sunk. Because I just see we're just missing so many customers, stakeholders, by not having an efficient website. So my thinking is just deploy a strike force to fix this. So, And okay, that's enough. I'm
And if
off
you want to
soapbox.
like, if you want to come and like, you know, maybe share a little bit about what your thoughts are on what we need to really fix, because I feel like you have more recommendations and requests that we can't really
Oh,
delve
yes,
into
but
here.
it's not,
But
yes, and
maybe
this is not the
come,
time or place for that.
right,
This is-
yeah, maybe come to the communications committee.
I'll
so
be
we
there
can
at 8 o'clock on
explore
Wednesday,
that. Okay, yeah, that sounds great.
and I hope
Thank
Taylor
you.
will be there too.
Well,
And
8
just,
o'clock Thursday, right?
yeah, on
8 o'clock
Thursday.
Thursday?
I'll be there.
Thursday.
And
Thank you.
the
See?
Zoom link
See?
is in
Getting
the
straight.
same email as this meeting. And
Thursday.
and
And
Gabby,
just
what you,
like for, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I would say, so ponder as well, what'll be very important right away is another tab across the top, and I mean like yesterday, that says elections, because candidates start filing this Saturday and we've got nothing up. So
Yeah, see, well, we just got our next door login, so we made progress on
no,
that.
but
from
on the
Dawn.
website itself,
Well, no, well, let me finish, Laura. So we are going to connect the next door to the website so that we can post, you know, all the information can be on Nextdoor and the website. A lot of, we are behind, you're right, Laura. We are behind because a lot of the other neighborhood councils have already started their social media campaign, but I think Lizzie's also coming to that so that we can discuss what our social media, you know, efforts will look like. So we need to figure that out too. And yes, add info on the election, which is what we will talk about
right.
on
So-
Tuesday.
So if I was
Also
rich,
remember-
I would
remember
be,
that-
I was just saying, let me finish. If I was rich, I was going to be delivering pizza to everybody because it sounds like this meeting's getting longer on Thursday, but I'm not, so I can't. But be prepared because I think that hour and a half might go a little longer. Lizzie.
Also, just remember that we are in our timeline is number 10. So what you are seeing is
Earlier, yes.
the other neighborhood councils, you know, they are ahead of us. So I think we still have a little time frame, and I've been looking closely at the Olympic peak, what is it, OPNC
Olympic Park.
Olympic Park, because they are, I get their email blasts, their e-blast, and so I'm going to share what I think would be good for us to have with lots
Yeah,
of
that would be cool.
and clicks, and I'll share that with you on Thursday.
Good.
Sounds good. Thanks,
Party
Lizzie.
on Thursday, 8 o'clock.
Gabby, what's your email?
Gabby,
No.
you're Gabby. Gabby.
Oh, so Taylor, everybody at UNNC has a UNNC email. So it's like laura.myers@unnc.org. So Gabby, is yours Gabby.Monzon? Just like your
Yeah, but I'll just email him right now. I'm emailing you right now, Taylor. It's taylor.fife@gmail.com, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I'm just gonna bombard you with a whole bunch of questions before Thursday, just because I want to get some background information. I think I'll be more useful on Thursday if I
Sure.
don't have to spend a half an hour asking questions about your WordPress templates and who people are and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so Taylor, just FYI, we do have his name's Michael Dawes. He just joined the communications committee, and he did you know, commit to looking at our different options in terms of like website hosting and you know, website updates in general. So I'll put both of you in contact so that you guys can, you know, maybe link up and talk a little bit more about what he's already working on.
Okay.
So that you don't have to start from scratch.
Yeah, I just that's, I won't ask any more questions. I'll ask them on Thursday. But yeah,
Okay.
it'd be great to get.
I sent you I emailed you right now. Did you get it? Just to make sure that
I
I
did.
don't lose touch with you. Okay, great.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks.
Thank you. We're excited to have you. We need more bodies.
All right. I am definitely one of those.
Okay, thank you. That's big thank you. Okay, next item, and this is for Greg, board member trainings review. How we doing on that? Oh, you're mute.
I'm mute.
Still mute. You are mute, Greg.
Hold on, I'm coming.
There you go.
Coming, I'm on a different screen. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay, good.
Everybody's, yeah, no problems with training. Everybody's
Okay.
on board.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're gonna need another round. A bunch of us have to retrain basically in June in advance of July, I think it is.
That's far off. We're good.
I know that, but okay. And on attendance, I sort of giving up, not really giving up, but we have an issue where at this moment in time, quite a few of our board members have been touched by COVID. So, I'm just trying to keep track. So, I mean, in other words, we have some people who've missed too many meetings, but it's the COVID thing.
Yeah.
So
That's excused.
well, I understand. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to go through the list. I
Right,
don't think that would be appropriate, but
And it's not. And you are tracking that data, or do you want me to start tracking the data?
oh, well, it's on the BACs among other things. Oh, you mean who's excused, who's versus who's not? I'm
Yes.
tracking the data. I'm tracking that, but you and I can talk offline about it. It's just, I'm trying to
Okay.
think. I don't think there was
Okay.
anybody not excused last month.
Well, so do you want me to keep an annual database spreadsheet of attendance?
This is why I'm deeply sighing. I know we
can.
have, no, that's not what I mean. When I say I'm giving up, I feel that I'm giving up on our requirements for those board members who are participating and coming to committee meetings, but maybe they've missed too many meetings, but they're representing what they're supposed to be representing, because this COVID is becoming worser and worser. So, we have rules, but it's the rules I'm sort of giving up on, but you and I can talk offline, because we should probably keep the record. I just don't want to enforce the record, except where it's people who are really not participating.
Yeah, that sounds appropriate.
Okay. Even if it violates our standing.
No, it sounds appropriate.
Right. Okay. And then the next item is the upcoming UNNC governing board meeting agenda items. And there are quite a few, but I need to go back and remind myself of all the things that I know of. We definitely have 2 land use cases, but here I actually did an email. So let me to someone. So let me just see if I can find it. Okay, we have, this isn't it. Okay, I'm just going to do this off the top of my head, because I'm trying to figure out how to have an efficient meeting at the governing board. We have 2 land use cases. We have, Gabby, if I'm not mistaken, ideally, we're going to have 2 contracts or proposed scopes of work to approve for a photographer and a graphic artist, right?
Correct. We're not sure about the photographer because we only got 1 application, but
well, at the moment, at the moment, I'm thinking in terms of the agenda is potentially we have 2 scopes of work and recommended contracts.
Yeah, let's leave it on.
Yeah. We have election, the whole election report and outreach, not separate and apart from the funding request. We have the 2 funding requests. We have a request from the gentleman who runs the Byzantine Latino BID, which is the Business Improvement District. He would like 10 minutes to talk about what's going on with small business in the UNNC area, which is bad news stuff. We have, I mean, we just have a lot of stuff. And then we have, at this moment in time, potentially 7 or 9, a lot, proposed community impact statements. There will be a special meeting of the CIS committee on Saturday, January 30th at noon, because there's just a whole bunch of potential community impact statements to do. We also have to take a vote on we don't have to, but Laura wants to be a participant with the other neighborhood councils on Dunn's proposed social digital media policy. And Gabby, you'll be glad to know that the West Side Alliance of Neighborhood Councils adopted a 4-sentence version of a position as opposed to a 3-page. So
That's great.
I think Gabby and Raheem will be quite happy with a pithy summary anyway. But I mean, it's
We
just
love
a whole lot
those
of business.
short summaries.
Yeah, I know. Whole lot of business ahead of us. And I don't know if we will, hopefully, crossing fingers, we will have a representative from Council District 10. And I would like to, if anyone knows who I should talk to, I would definitely like to have the call the meeting to order speaker, meaning in the 6:30 to 7 o'clock time. If we can find someone who's very knowledgeable and the right person to talk about how to get your vaccine. That, I mean, I will tell you that on that one email e-blast where we had, you know, one of the news and updates e-blast, the most recent one that included the city's new vaccination website, is everyone's clicking through to that. So that's what people want to know. When am I getting it? How do I get it? Where do I get it? What do I do? I don't know who this would be to do that talk, but that's what my goal is at the moment, find someone to do that. So this may not be all of the agenda items, but I can already see it's a lot. So Greg, you had a thought on, do we want to stick to this thought that on CIS that we have a overarching time limit? I don't know that Janie, I don't know if Janie would like that,
Well,
but
okay, it's not just for that item, it's for managing our agenda, that we block time, and we say that we will discuss items in that block of time, and then if we go over that when we're reaching that time, then we just say we either stop, and parliamentary procedure says that we could make a motion to extend time, but the presenters need to know how much time they have in the beginning and planning, so they can say, I can only discuss so many things in the 30 minutes or the 10 minutes that they have. So that's more of a time management thing. It's not just for CIS, it's for all topics, because it particularly applies to CIS because, you know, they can have like 10 items or they can have 15 items. Now, I can hear that argument would be that these things are timely, and therefore we need to address them within this month. But then perhaps we could just make sure we are just giving a brief overview instead of going into a great amount of detail about it, because we rely on the experts, such as we are, to present each of those items. I hope that's a good enough overview.
right. Well, but you know, I do the agendas are in time blocks.
Right, but then we just need to enforce that a little bit.
Right, but what I guess I'm wondering is if there's 9 proposed community impact statements in a given month, or 6 land use meetings because the planning department suddenly bunched a whole bunch of things up and we suddenly actually have to act on a whole bunch of things. How do we limit the time? Because time is elapsing and it's not like we're having 2 board meetings a month. So I mean, I feel like we all need to be judicious. Those of us who set sections of the agenda, if I'm saying that right, you know, for the whole time, 18 years apparently of UNNC, I've set the land use portion, right?
Right.
Janie should be setting the CIS portion, and I don't mean that she does the agenda, but she should be cognizant of things that must go forward and things that can hold. Similarly, any committee chair, I think. But in terms of enforcing that, it's also difficult because we have a lot of board members telling me that they have the right to put whatever they want onto the agenda. I'm not totally disagreeing with that notion, but I also feel that I have the right to try and create an agenda that won't generate a 4-hour meeting, and I'm getting pushback on that. On the other hand, there are board members who don't want 4-hour meetings. So, you know, it's become a difficult situation all the way around for me setting agendas. I'm not whining, I'm just saying, because
No,
again,
the concept of setting the agenda is set by the president and set by the executive board. It's not just
Correct.
anybody that wants to have anything on the agenda can have it on the agenda. Of course, we consider what people want to have on the agenda, but they need to bring that to the executive board first.
I agree with that. Mhm.
Now, again, the issue is that there are topics that are worth discussing, but we, as humans, we need to be mindful that we just can't let things go on forever. So just as a matter of practice, as a matter of equal practice, we should just say that, again, let's use CIS since that's the topic. CIS period of time is 30 minutes. But we need to apply that to all things like land use. Land use presentation of time is, I don't know, 30 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever, you know. And personally, my thinking is that if we have experts that work on something, and then if they say this is their recommendation, then I want to lean towards, okay, our experts said that's what they want, and I will vote with them because they know the details of it. When Gabby and Raheem said they want to do something with the website, I'm gonna say, okay, fine, good. They said wants to do something with election, okay, fine. You know, because they're working that area.
right.
We don't need to
Do we, Greg, pardon the interruption. Do
Yes,
we
please.
know how many of our board members actually read documents and information before the meeting? That may also, that I feel contributes a little bit to our,
Right.
you know, how long our meetings run. You know, I personally try to read everything before the meeting, but
Right.
I gather from, you know, our past meetings that a lot of them don't.
Yeah.
And we may want to consider perhaps, you know,
Remind them.
guiding them and as to how to be an effective board member as well.
Right.
You know, and how, you know, how to be effective in a meeting
Right.
too.
Right.
I agree.
Well, and then it's especially for land use, but I would say also for community impact statements on random topics. Sometimes, you know, the questions that are asked are on things that we either discussed in advance at a committee meeting and came to a conclusion, or are literally sort of, I'm going to say, over there and not within the jurisdiction of the discussion. But you can't know in advance, and I feel very uncomfortable cutting people off right at the beginning of what they're saying, and then when I cut them off after 2 or 3 minutes because it's not pertinent, I get glared at. I mean, I will say on land use, the common thread is almost every time we have a land use case, someone wants to know why there is not more parking. And we've vetted whatever needs to be vetted on parking, whichever the case is, whatever the proposal is, we always discuss that at Planning and Zoning Committee. And what we bring to the board would normally be that which is correct on the parking, but we still always end up with these discussions. We always end up with discussions on how much affordable housing, even though the agenda would likely say how many affordable units it is. So,
Question.
but anyway, so people aren't reading, and then I think they're not reading the background materials on the CISs, and and so you're right, but I don't know how I can enforce it.
Have we considered maybe writing up an executive summary for, I mean, I know that we already have the motion in the agenda, and this might be something that we want to work on in the next couple of years, not now, but like
Right.
maybe instituting a, you know how like council meetings, we have staff reports, maybe like a quick 1-page report with a summary of the item. I don't know who and I don't know how this will work, but we may want to consider in the future talking about that.
I agree.
Right. I mean, in other words, one of the reasons I've taken to writing those kind of resolutions, whereas this, whereas that, whereas this on the land use ones, A, by calling it a capital R resolution, it allows us to speak longer at meetings, but B, it's because those are the bullet point. Anyway, just like you said, it's the summaries. Whereas this, whereas this, whereas this, but I wouldn't expect that for every committee. But maybe.
Okay, so where we at on this topic?
Okay, we've spent too much time, but anyway, so in all of that, when I listed all the items that are on the governing board agenda, I forgot to mention the thing we talked about earlier this evening, committee mission statements and goals. It's also on this agenda. So, and that one's an obvious limit to a certain amount of time. There's no reason to go over that time. So I'm going to do the best I can to not have another meeting that goes past 11 p.m. And I'd appreciate not being yelled at if it goes too long. And I agree, the parliamentarian function is important.
I'm willing to do that.
Okay. Well, you can't do everything, Greg, but if you want to do that, please do that.
Well, no, I can do that. Like,
well, you know
just
what?
show up and do that.
One thing I should tell you guys, I don't know if it's going to work well, but the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment and the city's IT group is or just has had a meeting with Zoom officials, because one of the things everyone is asking for is a way to have an ongoing clock on, time clock on the, as a thing on the Zoom, on the black screen, that isn't something we have to post as a screen share. So you can actually keep the time clock running and, set it at 3 minutes, set it at whatever for a speaker, and that would be excellent. So, okay, that's the end of my report. I don't know that I had a report, but that's the end of it. We need to move on. The next item is a treasurer's report financial update.
Okay, here we go. Let me see, where is it?
I don't know.
Hold on, let me switch screens here. Oh, there you go.
And I'm gonna de-video myself and mute myself for one moment.
Okay, can everyone see this? This is for,
Yes.
oh, okay. So this is what we spent in December. See how much money we spent in December? $4.95. Total spent $4.95.
Good job. Let's keep it up.
I know it. But since then we
Wow.
have paid Ann's bill, so that will come out next month. We will have the funds that we're giving the NPG to the firemen's Friends of the Firehouse. That will come out in January. But December, we didn't spend a lot of money. So this is a concern that we are not utilizing our funds. So I
I know how
encourage,
to spend money, Greg. So
well,
if
we
you need
all
help
know
in
how
that
to,
department,
we all know how to spend money. That's not a problem. I can think of all types of things that we could do with these funds, but they're not mine to do that with. But so I encourage us to talk to our neighborhood, to
Mhm.
come up with projects
Okay.
Well,
that we can donate to.
Yeah.
We can invest in. Yes, ma'am.
okay, so I will tell you, we're going to come this month, but now it's a month from March. I'm sort of telling people March is the latest they should be making proposals. But for the environmental committee, I'll be very brief on this, but we've got just under $4,000 set aside for the tree watering and maintenance project. It's getting very glitchy with the Lonnie monies. And we, in the meantime, meaning not me, but other volunteers within UNNC have identified well over 50 locations in our boundaries, maybe 100, maybe more, of tree wells where the street trees have died, are gone.
Are we
And
going to ask for some money?
we're probably going to ask for money, but we're not asking this month, obviously. But we may ask for a lot of money. And we're also my role in all of this is I'm now going back to some of the developers who have, the major projects to see if they would themselves, not just plant the trees that they have to plant in front of theirs, but go a little north or a little south, a little east, a little west, add some trees as our partners. So, we're trying to create a big project, just so you know.
Okay. All right. So when this topic comes up,
Mhm.
I just want to keep this brief, but when this topic comes up, then my conversation will be about the money that we already have set aside. for this.
$3,996 and no
Yeah.
cents.
So,
I know.
yeah.
I've
And
got that,
then-
and it has to be spent by June 1 and no later. I know.
Okay.
Got it.
All right.
And in this case, those funds are funds that will go, that specific amount goes to KYCC. It's a credit card on their website and it's a donation. I just don't want to give the donation until we actually know for sure how the money is really going to be used by them, because I don't want it to be general. I want it to be what we had set it aside for.
Okay.
So, but it has to be
sounds
done
good.
by June 1 or whatever day it is that the city clerk announces. It's
Okay.
just, we may be asking for more. That's all I'm trying to say.
And it's the community's money. They can have it.
Right. Well, we like trees. No, it's really disappointing. UNNC planted 100 trees on Washington Boulevard, I want to say 15 years ago, and half of them are gone, or a third of them are gone. I mean, just gone. They're not there. And it's awful. Anyway.
Okay. Am I up for something else?
No. So the next item, Gabby, minutes. Although I don't think this is true, but after you left the board meeting, our NEA, the Dunn rep said, since you're recording all your meetings on Zoom, you don't have to have written minutes. I don't think I agree with that, but we seem to be no longer in the threatening, if you don't post your minutes, you're in trouble round for the moment. Not permanently,
okay.
but for the moment.
Okay, I forgot, but I do have the executive committee meeting minutes uploaded on the drive, on the Google Drive.
Oh.
So I just need to move them onto the actual secretary folder. So I need to upload governing board onto that one, but executive committee is here.
Okay.
Were they approved last time? Or did we want
Nothing.
to change
We've
anything
approved
on there?
nothing. We've approved no minutes this whole year.
No, the governing board ones. That's what I was wondering.
No, it got tabled after you left. And that's,
Oh, okay.
yeah, not because of you and being gone, but because it was 11, at that point, it was 12 minutes after 11 PM.
Yeah, okay.
So,
All
so
right,
we're,
makes sense.
yeah,
I'll bring a few more then to XCOM next meeting, and then governing board, I'll have like maybe 4 or 5 done.
okay.
But I was mainly looking for feedback on like the format, because I did change the format, and content is a little bit more action oriented than summary. But we can talk about it next time. It's fine.
Right, and Greg's your guy because he was secretary before. So,
Oh, okay,
you guys
great.
can
I'll
talk-
share
talk-
them with
talk-
Greg.
right,
Okay.
because
I'll share with
I'm not your person. I'm the person who barely ever read minutes in advance. Speaking of board members who don't do their diligence and read
No
stuff in
worries.
advance, I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about ever in all these years. I would just read them during the meeting, and that's so bad. So,
Send me the link, Abby, then I will.
Okay, I'll share them with you.
Thank you, my friend.
okay. And do we have anything else on this agenda? Old business. I don't think we have any old business.
All right.
Yeah, then we can adjourn.
My goodness, we are doing good.
Right. So, well, I guess the only yeah, we do have one little piece of old business, which is we definitely have to have someone become vice president, which, you
Oh,
know.
we didn't get to that last time? I was wondering where new vice
Oh,
president.
no. Well, yeah, we got to it. And
Oh,
if everyone was on Zoom video, which they were not, but you can just imagine this, it would have been 20 people staring blankly. It's like, don't look at me. Anyway, just saying.
it's funny.
So I am supposed to write, and I will, kind of a more of a job description, because the reality is the job of the vice president in a Zoom era is a little different than the job of the vice president in person. But we do need to resolve it, because I realize, tonight, because Hugo's still not well, if we might not have had quorum, and we might have had to cancel this meeting. So we really do need to have 5 people, so that at least we can get that quorum of 3 more easily. Okay. And that's that. So shall we adjourn?
Okay.
Michelle, thank you so much.
Oh, look, 5 minutes before the stated end of the meeting.
Not that I don't like you guys, but yeah,
that.
I'm leaving.
Okay, if only we can do that at governing board. Bye, everybody.
Have a good night,
Bye,
everybody.
bye,
Bye, good
Jasmine
night.
Johnson, that
Okay,
you didn't say hi
bye.
to earlier. Bye.
Okay. Bye,
Take
Greg.
care. Bye, bye-bye.
Okay, I'm ending the meeting.